Hi, Maxine.
Hi, Shelly. Hi, Dr. Shelly.
It's a pleasure to be here chatting with you today.
Indeed.
And today, what we're trying to do is to find out a little bit about you and your background and experiences now with your company, Soft Skills. So I wanted to go ahead for the benefit of our listeners to share a little bit about your background and experiences as far as your bio is concerned. So here I go. Maxine Barnett is the founder and principal coach of Soft Skills Services, which is an organization dedicated to helping leaders hone their soft or power skills to achieve their leadership goals. A former corporate executive whose career spans the airline, energy, security, media, central banking, and financial services sectors, she has spent over 2 decades in talent acquisition, management training and development, organization, and personal transformation. She has transposed this expertise and diverse human skills background to coaching and training individuals in large corporations, small businesses, academia, government, and the diplomatic sector, whether they are seeking to prepare for upward mobility, lead a team, upskill, transition, or do business across borders. The holder of a master's degree in organization development, leadership and transformation, and a bachelor's degree in language and education psychology. She is an executive coach trained by Cambridge University, a trainer and consultant certified by the NTL, Institute of Behavioral Sciences, and a protocol consultant trained and certified by the Protocol School of Washington, D.C., and the International Etiquette and Protocol Academy in the United Kingdom. Maxine Barnett collaborates with industry experts across disciplines as she creates transformative coaching interventions and training programs. This brings a realistic approach to the customized in-person or virtual experience for her clients who are seeking to maximize their visual, verbal, behavioral, and cultural markets as part of their brand. Maxine believes that the application of soft skills in human interaction is a winning formula and the key to establishing powerful connections and building relationships. Maxine Barnett, it is an absolute pleasure having you here today to chat a little bit about your entire experience, especially at the global level. And based on that, Maxine, tell us, I want to jump right into our interview. Tell us a little bit about what are hard skills?
Thank you, Dr. Shelley, and thank you for that your kind introduction. Sometimes when we hear a little about our bio, sometimes we kind of wonder, really, did we do that?
You did do that.
Yeah,
Done that, been there, done that.
yeah. So let's just jump straight into it. And your question is
What are hard skills?
hard skills. And actually, for some, it may be easier to describe what hard skills are more than soft skills. But we'll start off with hard skills. Hard skills really are our qualifications, our technical expertise, our experiences of things that we've learned and been trained to do that we do
Yes.
for the most part in our jobs. Those are the hard skills. Yes?
Right.
The hard,
Exactly.
yes, and the hard skills, literally, it's on our resume. It gets us to the door. So that's what people see before they meet us. They see it and they say, okay, she or he meets the requirement. It gets us to the door. Yes.
Okay. And I love that because that's what most people are accustomed to. You're seeing it on the resume.
Mhm.
But then that should transition us into what are soft skills?
Absolutely. And soft skills are it's just a combination. As a matter of fact, I describe it as a big tent thing. Soft skills comprise our visual, our verbal and nonverbal, our behavioral, our cultural communication touch points. So really and truly, it's our attributes. Once we get through the door, that's what people see and that's what they look for. And that's what actually sells us. Yeah.
Yes, yes, that's what actually sells.
Mhm.
So, would you want to give us an idea of maybe give us three types of soft skills then in that case?
Okay. So some say it takes 3 seconds to make a first impression.
Okay.
Sometimes we make, and most times we make that first impression even before we open our mouths to
Mm-hmm.
speak. So
Mm-hmm.
that visual, how we present ourselves, for example, our dress,
Yes.
and I will define our dress as our appropriate dress, because there's one type of dress is an example that's great. So, but we won't dress as how you and I are dressed right now. We won't dress like that for the beach.
Hopefully not.
So the dress has to be appropriate. So that's one type of one type of soft skill. Another
Mhm.
type of soft skill is our listening skills. How much do we or can we listen? That's
Yes.
another type of soft skill. Another type of soft skill would be empathy. As
Yes.
we work and function with people, how much we can empathize, especially as leaders who lead teams, how much
Right.
we can empathize. And I can go on and on. Another type of soft skill, for example, might be how we work across borders, because in this day and age, we have to work across borders. And in order to work across borders, we need to understand some of the protocol that's
Mm-hmm.
required so that we don't
Mm-hmm.
make faux pas as we communicate with our associates and others across borders in different countries.
Okay.
Yeah?
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing that. So as I'm reflecting on the issue of the pandemic, I believe that what we've been experiencing is more of a global touch. We're now pretty closer, much, much closer. We're no longer is distance an issue because of the pandemic, where most people are conducting meetings and interviews for jobs or whatever it is via Zoom or some form of technological
Yes,
use.
by
So it
platform.
is going to be very, very critical for individuals to be aware of this. So what, as based on that background, what I'd like to ask you, why do soft skills matter, especially in this environment that we're now in?
Why do they matter? And
Mm-hmm.
soft skills have always mattered. Soft skills is always,
Right.
let me just go back a bit before
Perfect.
the pandemic. Soft skills
Exactly.
always mattered. So for
Mm-hmm.
example, how we greet each other when we
Yes.
when we used to meet in person, how we greet each other matters, from as simple as the handshake and
Right.
how we do that, from as
Right.
simple as we make eye contact with the
Right.
person we're dealing with,
Yes.
from as simple as we give and receive feedback with each other in
Right.
person. So those soft skills have always mattered. What has changed is that we now need to bring those soft skills into the virtual space
Right.
and pay even more attention as we bring those soft skills into the virtual space, so that virtual meeting etiquette has now
Yes.
become part of the course, because our soft skills is part of our brand.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Of
for
course.
example,
Yes.
if someone asked me to speak about Dr. Shelley,
Mm-hmm.
um, it's very unlikely what kind of person Dr. Shelley is. So tell me
Mm-hmm.
something about Dr. Shelley.
Mm-hmm.
I may hardly start with the fact that she's a PhD. I may start with the fact that she's kind, she's
Right.
empathetic, she's
Yeah.
someone who listens.
Yeah.
And those are some of the things that matter as we start communicating. So let's come now into the virtual space that we spent the last year for the most part. Some of
Mm-hmm.
us may have been in the virtual space before. Some of
Right.
us have used it as a blended scenario. So we
Mm-hmm.
meet in person, but we also meet sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
virtually. But now virtually has become, so even as we prepare to meet virtually, we need to
Mm-hmm.
do some things. We need to be careful with our entire environment as we meet
Mm-hmm.
virtually. And because you and I may be able to give examples of some things we have seen as people just turn up and meet in the virtual environment. I mean, I don't know. I always say there's a particular thing that I would like to unsee, because in the virtual space, not everyone has a home office. Not
Right.
everyone has a home office. Not
Right.
everyone has a dedicated space. People meet in their bedrooms, their kitchens. They meet in all
Right.
different parts. But
Right.
whatever we do, we need to make sure that that space is representative of us and
Right.
communicates what we want to communicate. Yeah. So that's
Okay. Yes.
an example of meeting in the virtual space. Yes.
Perfecto. I really like that. And I wanted to delve a little bit deeper into who do you work with? Who are the people you work with? You want to give us maybe a few examples of people, the types of people that you work with?
Absolutely, absolutely. The people that I work with, primarily leaders, and leaders is a broad term. So I work with executives, I work with upwardly mobile business professionals in the corporate environment, but I also work with entrepreneurs, people
Yes.
who are transitioning from
Right.
the workplace because it is a mindset and a different kind of approach. So
Yes.
if you're an employee to if you now become an employer or
Right.
a business owner. So
Yes.
I work with leaders, but leaders of these variety of spaces where no matter what space you're in, the attributes of a leader, you're leading a team, it's needed, whether you're leading a team as an entrepreneur, you're leading a team
Mm-hmm.
as a department head, I work
Mm-hmm.
with all of the above.
Okay. So you want to give us an example of some experience that you've had. You've had such wide experiences. I know you've worked with even consulates and so on. Give
Mhm.
us just share with us just one.
Okay.
Won't ask you to
Okay.
go too much, but just one.
Right, right. So in doing that, I will share some of the services that I offer
Okay.
because coaching is not just talking to someone. When we're
Right.
coaching, we want to help someone to move from point A to point B. And
Right.
that could be from becoming from an employee to a supervisor or departmental head.
Mm-hmm.
Right? For example, there's so many persons who are just thrown into leadership and for want of a better
Right.
expression.
Right.
They're just promoted and they weren't prepared. And all of a sudden they have to lead this team. So
Mm-hmm.
in doing that, we have to teach the person how to be a team leader and
Right.
then work with the person on their team for them to become a team. Because
Mm.
before you're a team, you're a group
Yes,
of
of
people.
course.
But we need to work now together. And we have that under team coaching so that we can now move in tandem and
Mm-hmm.
become a high performing team. So yes,
Mm-hmm.
so I work with teams. I also work with individuals who not everyone is deficient in all the soft skills. Sometimes
Right.
there's somebody who wants to work on one particular area. So
Right.
for example,
Yes.
there's a young lady who came to me. She's a banker,
Mm-hmm.
fairly senior. She's not at the executive level. And she came to me and she said, I want to prepare myself for the next level.
Exactly.
She said
Awesome.
she had her eyes on moving up senior wise.
Yes.
She
Yes.
also had her eyes on moving globally because it's an organization that has a global reach. So she came to me. First, she wanted the business protocol training.
Right.
And then when she was placed now on the leadership track, then
Mm-hmm.
she wanted the preparation now for that. And now that young lady is leading up one of that organization's regional operation.
Perfect. So that's the reason, that's the kind of transition that you do with individuals as you work with them.
Absolutely.
And I mean, being in organizational development, having been
Agree.
in that space, I
Mhm.
can relate a
Right.
lot as to exactly why. And that's the reason why I sit down. I'm a little different from you. I more write the books too,
Sure. And I
so they
use
can
the
take
book.
it in tandem.
I use and make reference to your books. When up to yesterday, there's a coach I have who has left an organization. She's an entrepreneur. And up to
Okay.
yesterday, I recommended your book to her.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yes.
So, Maxine, if someone is interested in working with you based on their personal situation, of course, they would know that you're very confidential because though we're asking you to share examples, you don't really share names because most people tend to want to keep it confidential, but they seek out for help. Where can they find you?
Absolutely. And even before I say where you can find me, one other kind of coaching I do that people hardly make reference to is something we call spot coaching.
Okay.
Sometimes you need help with a particular situation, a particular
Mm-hmm.
issue. It's
Right.
not that you're not a good leader or so on, but you need a confidential, a sounding
Right.
board. So I do
Right.
some of that too, and we deal with
Right.
that issue. There's a model that I use to help us to get beyond that issue. Yeah,
Knock that out within an hour or two.
exactly,
And they can
exactly,
always come back if they need more deeper
absolutely.
dive into that
Right, right,
spot
right.
issue.
Exactly. So that's not the same coaching as the coaching that is a
Right.
journey now, like the example I gave with the young
Yes.
lady who came and is now an executive in the region. So,
Yes.
so yes, soft skills services. You can go to my website, www.softskillsservices.com. And when you go there, you can see the range of services and also the way to contact me via phone or email or whichever way you'd like to contact me. Yeah.
Perfect. So it has been a pleasure. Anything else that you'd like to add before we
Well, I
close?
like to share with people that soft skills, like some people say, oh, I'm bright, I have my degrees, and so I don't
Yes.
need that. I've got by without that. But really and truly, soft skills matter when it
Mhm.
matters.
Ah.
Subject matters when it matters. So you might have got by all the time. And this particular situation where your soft skills really, really mattered, how you communicate, how you dealt with the situation, how you gave and received the feedback, how you did the problem solving, when it really mattered, it may have cost you. It may
Exactly. It may
after
have cost you.
that situation, may have cost you the client, may have cost you the job interview, the job that you
Yes.
were trying to get. So I
Yes.
always say soft skills matter when it matters. And also it is the soft skills that build the powerful connections and the trusted relationships. Because
Right.
at the end of the day, it is the relationships that matter. Yes, soft and hard skills are what I call kissing cousins, but it is the soft skills that
Right.
keep the relationships.
So it is actually very close and interrelated, but
Absolutely.
the soft skills drives it, right?
Absolutely. We can't do without each other. It's
Can't do without each
yeah,
other.
the soft skills. And you like it, drives it. I like it. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Maxine, it has been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. And for our last minute, tell them again where they can find you on your website.
You can find me at www.softskillservices.com. As we say, SSS.
Right. All right. It has been a pleasure. Thank you very much, Maxine. It was a pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you, chatting with me too. I appreciate it.
Okay.